What's up, man? You're watching my new show, Behind the Beats. We're here at the beautiful Ghost Bar right across the street from the Seminole Hard Rock Casino. I'm here with the beautiful, the wonderful Felisha Monet.
Hey!
How you doing, Felisha?
I like this, BB. I like this setup.
I'm trying, man. You know, I aspire to be a great interview person like yourself, man. You know what I'm saying? I seen you that day you came by Circle House. It was you and Teach. Y'all interviewed Neo that day. That was wonderful.
Oh, yes. That was one of my early interviews.
Yeah,
yes,
and it was still amazing. You can check that out on YouTube, man. Just Google Neo and Felisha Monet. But that was a wonderful interview you had with Neo. And I always thank you for everything you do and, you know, everything you've done for the city, you know, here in Miami. You've brought so many great things to the table, and not even being from here, but still what you've brought to the city, man. We're so appreciative of everything that you've done.
Thank you. That definitely means a lot coming from you.
Definitely.
But, you know, this is a city that I'm not from, but I'm from
at
the same time because it embraced me, you know, and has shown me a lot of love. So I will always rep Miami.
Nah, definitely. You're looking very nice.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? You're looking very, you know, I can't even describe the word, but you're looking like fluffy, like just
fluffy. I like,
fluffy.
you know, I like to say I freed up myself.
Definitely,
you know what I mean?
definitely.
Like 2020 has been a very interesting year.
Yeah.
You know, the pandemic, COVID has allowed a lot of people to just be still and sit down and be forced to kind of free up themselves.
Yes.
So I took this time to do just that, you know,
definitely.
And when I mean free up, it's just a level of like, you can only control what you can control.
That is true.
You know
that
what I'm
is
saying?
true.
We got to take it day by day.
Day by day.
I feel like,
it's like, I get it too, it's like you're in control, but you're not in control.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But I got a few questions for you.
Okay, let's get into it.
So, when and how did you get into this whole radio game?
So, I got into radio in Tallahassee.
Okay.
It was I don't want to say by accident,
okay,
you know, but I always knew I wanted to do radio, and I was working at a sneaker store. I was a sneakerhead.
Okay.
And I was in a mall, Governor Square Mall, and I was working
Governor Square,
yes,
boy.
Governor Square Mall, and I was working at a sneaker spot, and a DJ, a popular DJ, DJ Dap, would come in all the time, but I wasn't too familiar. You know, I had just left New York, was in Tallahassee. I had to work for 6 months before I even was able to go into school.
Okay.
So we would come in and we would just connect, and he was just like, yo, you got a dope personality, like, you should do radio. And I was like, aha, that's what I want to do. But the thing is, he was like, yo, come to the station next weekend. And I was like, okay. So I came thinking I was just gonna, you know, see the station and get the behind the scenes look. He put me to work. I got hired.
Right on the spot.
Right on the spot.
Wow.
And I literally was like, thrown into the ocean, and you know, it's either sink or swim, and it's like I just swam. You know what I mean? I never looked back. So that was how I got my start in radio, commercial radio. When I was in college in Connecticut, I did like intern at like the college radio station, but it was a different experience. Like commercial radio was a little bit different.
So you had a little bit of that into you before that.
A little bit.
You had okay.
Not enough though. Not enough for me to be comfortable to crack a microphone and be like, T-Town was popping. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. I see you interview a lot of people. You know, what was some of the people that you've interviewed, like some celebrities that you've interviewed?
So I've interviewed Puff. I've interviewed French Montana, Omarion. President Obama.
Wow.
Yeah, Minister Louis Farrakhan, Lil Wayne, Birdman, Nicki Minaj.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a nice plethora.
What's a memorable interview for you? Something that happened, good, bad, funny, you know?
Okay, so for me, the most intense interview that I've done was with Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne, okay.
Because at the time, he had made some, you know, crazy comments about the city. Okay. And the city, well, about Miami Heat. Yeah. And the city felt away. Like, I remember conversations, like, if the barbershop talks, people was feeling away about Wayne, who, you know, lived down here as well. And though he was just talking about a sports team, you know, the city took it personal. You know what I mean? And I just remember he didn't really do a lot of interviews, but he did call into the show. And then you could just feel the tenseness intimateness of it all. And I remember it was over the phone. And phone interviews are very tricky because at any given time, somebody could just hang up.
Yeah.
So it was like, how do I keep him on the phone? How do I represent the tone of the city and have people really, feel like this platform, Jams, is being their voice.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yes. And not this level of,
Yeah, I get it.
Like, yeah. It was no problem that you said that shit. People felt away.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting interview for me to navigate.
Yeah.
But it did well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
because,
it did well.
me getting into the interview game, I know what you're talking about because it's hard to keep that level of like viewership versus realness versus like it's like a gumbo that you got to keep going because you got to please so many people with every question, with every breath,
and
with
you
want to
make the artist comfortable.
Yes,
you know what I mean. So you just can't. I mean, for me, my style is has always been a little bit different. I've studied different people and just when I was working on my craft, it was important for me to not be a shock interviewer or somebody to just jump in and go for the juggler. That's cool. I commend people that could do that. For me, I'm more of like a bubble up. I'm more of like a slow person. I need to make you comfortable first, and then we gonna get there. Because at some point I have to ask you those questions. Yeah.
So tell us about the transition from Tallahassee to Cox Media, or how did that happen?
Yeah, no, I went from Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Came down, drove down my 8 hours or however long it was, to South Florida, and I left Tallahassee because I had my oldest son, and I remember thinking like, I love Tallahassee, I really do, but I'm like, I don't want to be stuck there because I know so many people that went there and they just stayed there, and I was like, I don't, I have a child, I want more, so all my family was in New York, and I was like, let me just take a trip down to South Florida. And I did that. And for 2 years, I was just really focused on mommyhood. I didn't really know too many people. Griot was down here. I knew Griot from the music scene. He was, at the time, Trina's DJ. So whenever they were in Tallahassee, whether it was TJ's DJ's record pool or if it was the Moon, I always had solid relationships and solid connections. So when I came down, he knew I was here. We linked every now and again, but he had just got hired on Jams.
Okay.
And I remember I was so happy for him. Like, oh my God, like that's super, super dope. And he told me, he was like, you next. And I was like, I don't know. I ain't been in radio for a few years. I just had a baby. Like, I'm super low key. At the time, I was working at Wellington Mall at the Coach store. Like, super not even into anything plugged in the entertainment world at all. And a year later, on my son's second birthday, I remember this like it was yesterday. I was walking into the house with Public's birthday cake, and I got a phone call from Griot, and he said, my PD wants to hire you.
Wow.
I did not fill out an application. I never submitted an air check. It wasn't something that I intentionally, actively pursued. I honestly got to a place where the 2 years where I wasn't, pursuing radio, it was rough. Because
and this is after you left
I left Tallahassee
to come here.
I mentally was in a space where it was like, you know what, Felisha, maybe that was just a Tallahassee thing. I can say I've interviewed some cool people in Tallahassee. I did what I needed to do in Tallahassee. Let me let it go, because a lot of times people hold on to the past. And then when you hold on to the past and maybe you're not doing what it is that you want to do, presently, it kind of low-key builds up resentment, and I started to feel away. Like at one point I couldn't listen to the radio because it felt so like, that's supposed to be me. Like what? Like that. And and that type of energy for me, it didn't feel right. So I just remember I was like, you know what? If it's for me, it's gonna come back. I'm cool. And it came on my son's birthday. And I remember like, oh my God, him saying, you got to get something together. And I'm like, I don't got no studio. I don't got no plugs down here. I put an old air check together from 2 years ago. And the music that was being played on there, how I sounded, it was just like a whole hot mess. But I salute Griot and I salute Derek Baker for believing in me, and taking a chance, because the people, the other, people that were up for that position, there was some heavy hitters. You know what I mean? And they were in other markets, you know, and I was
doing
like,
doing their thing,
trying to get into Miami, and here it was. These people, you know, believed in me enough. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. And how long were you on Gems?
10 years.
10 years.
10 years. I started out my first day on air. Derek told me to come to the station. It was Memorial Day weekend.
Big
which
weekend.
You know,
big
huge weekend. Okay, this was before it was called what is it called? Black Beach Week. Yeah, no. This was like popping in the heart of it. Nothing was shut down. It was just loose, right? And he was like, yeah, come up to the station early at like, 8 in the morning. I'm like, damn, okay, no problem. But I'm thinking we're just gonna have like, like a meeting. He's gonna show me, the studio and stuff like that. At freaking 10 o'clock, he's like, you start your shift. And I'm like, yo, you're killing me. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing Opalaka right. And you're telling me I gotta like talk to the city. Oh my God, the knot that was in my throat for like the first 4 hours of the show, it was crazy. But he was like, all right, well, you still played music. The radio station ain't burned down. We ain't have dead air. You're hired. And I was like, okay. I got to do this again next weekend. So
I know you worked with DJ Khaled a little bit.
I did.
So what's up? Tell us about that experience working with the Don Dada, the Don Gagan, the Don Dada.
Khaled was the best, man. When I got hired, he was doing nights with K Fox.
Okay.
And then I was doing overnights. And then at one point, they moved me up. I think his show was like from 6 to 10, and I was doing like 10 to 2. So it was like that transition period. But Khaled has always been who he is. He is just an amazing person in terms of work ethic, in terms of, just really having a good grasp of follow-up. You know what I mean? And really cultivating and pursuing and marketing. Like, he was always witty. I still remember a McDonald's commercial that he would just do, and I went to my pocket and I grabbed another burger. And that's all he kept saying. And this commercial would just play. And it was like, he has like this way of captivating people, with his slogan. So he's just super dope.
Yeah, man. You've done some big things in the city. We've noticed a lot of different things you've doing. But like, so after that point of like radio, and how did you transition to where you're at now? Was it something that you want to do, or you just said, hey, I'm gonna step back from radio, or like, what was your next move, and what was on your mind, and what was your thinking?
So like, I think subconsciously I always knew a natural transition for me is radio to television. I didn't know in what capacity though, but I just knew like at some point I'm not gonna be I just didn't want to be on radio for the rest of my life. But I decided to leave radio because I felt like I grew as much as I could. Like I saw my growth. I set my goals, my benchmarks, and I did everything I wanted to do. So when I got to the point of being in afternoons and, just the changes that were happening, just with the culture and the music, and I got to the point where I was like, this feels different. And I want different, and I had just had my son, and I was like, he was 6 months, and I was just like, it was like my energy, my spirit kept saying, just go, just leave. Like, what's holding you back? And I really didn't have a plan. I had always helped in casting. So when there was talks of Love and Hip Hop coming to Miami, I was always, my hands were in it because I was putting people, on, like, oh, you should get this person, or this person is popping, or they got this going on, you know what I mean? So I always helped in the casting part, but I was still doing radio at the time. So when I left radio, production fell into my lap. And again, one of those situations where, I have no doubt that my steps are ordained. Like my movements are my movements because they're mine. You know what I mean? And I feel like they're blessed. So my last day on air was May 4th, my last show. May 18th, I started Love and Hip Hop on production as a producer. And I wasn't supposed to. I turned it down. I have a good friend, Madi. Shout outs to Madi.
Madi, what's
you know
up?
What I mean? She was a beast. She was on me. She's like, Fee, yo, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. Like, and I'm like, I don't know. And then she approached me again, and it was the third time, and I was like, this could be a sign. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let me just do it.
I believe when you say that too, because Madi had her transitions.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Where she started from the comedy club to where she ended up with working with Clean Face and working with Slip and Slide. It's just so like you guys. I'm not saying have a similar story, but
it's growth.
Yeah.
We were trying to navigate. We trying to get to where we going. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And in order to do that, you got to take risks and you got to take chances, and you got to be honest with yourself. You have to know when you've hit your mark. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like when I can't. You know, I'm not above learning. Yeah. The thought of learning, the process of challenges, that excites me. No. And when I feel like I could do some shit with my eyes closed, it's like, all right.
I always commended you because I said to myself, I always talk about exit strategies. You know what I'm saying? So like, I commend you guys like, wow, Felisha had a great exit strategy to open the door to something else that's going to last longer. You know what I'm saying? Not to say anything about radio, but I just commended you on your thought process and the way you moved.
Well, listen, I wish I could take that credit, because let me tell you, it wasn't as strategized as you may think. No, but
it looked like it though.
But you know what it was? When I decided to really stand firm in my decision, because it was like this inkling I had for a year and a half, and then I finally was like, okay, go, because something in me was like, Fee, if you don't make this jump, you might be missing the next stop. You know. So when I made the jump, I'm like, okay, but I was still at a what's next. Yeah. You know what I mean? And and that's okay, but it felt like a strategy because the station really supported my exit. Okay, and usually in radio,
they're like,
nah, you can't do that. If you tell your program director, look, I'm putting in my 2 weeks, they're going to be like, you know what, let this be your last show, because at that point, you're a liability. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can get on the radio and say anything at that point. But, shout out to Jill Strata. She helped me exit. You know what I mean? She allowed me to exit the way I wanted to exit. Yeah. And it was good.
Yeah. Honestly, what do you enjoy better? Radio or TV? You ain't got to answer that if you don't want to, but just...
it's different. I enjoy radio for the people. Okay. I'm a people person. So, the connection that I have with the audience and just the city, you know what I mean, was always my driving force. And I always loved, being that bridge or being that vessel that will allow, a mom in the car with their kids, you know what I mean, who just picked them up from school to hear their favorite artist and, have a shot at, asking them a question or learn something new about their favorite artist. Like, to me, just being a part of that was important. And of course, the give back. So I miss that element. TV and me doing behind the scenes is a different experience because I don't want to say I'm not of service anymore, but it's good because I'm learning something and there's challenges that I don't know. Yeah. So again, I'm a person that I like to challenge myself. I like to learn new things, and it's exciting for me. So I'm in the student phase right now. Yeah. I'm executing. That's one thing that radio has, in my years experience in the entertainment world, has helped and prepared me for. So it's not like a complete reset, but I mean, I like the challenge. I like both.
What's your average day like? On a set of Love and Hip Hop? What is like a day in the life with the...
So, we shoot 2 scenes a day, so you're definitely at the bare minimum, you're looking at 12 to 14 hour days. Yeah. That's on the minimum. Yeah. But we do know that, I deal with talent, you know what I mean? So I'm communicating with talent all the time, which is literally 24 hours. So even if we wrap, my phone might go off, and it might be a situation where it's like, Fee, let me tell you about what just happened offline, and now I gotta engage with that talent. Yeah. So it's definitely a 24-hour job. Yeah. But yeah, I enjoy it.
Definitely. Question for you. Mm-hmm. What's your biggest inspiration?
My kids.
The kids?
My sons.
Okay.
Because I feel like, it gives me a different level of grind and a different level of purpose. And I've made a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah.
And you know, at one point I was suffering from what's called mother's guilt, because I felt like I missed out on a lot of time because I was chasing this dream of mine, or just being on the grinds. And you know, I would beat myself up a lot, but it's like, mama gotta provide. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I feel like with my kids, seeing me work and enjoy my work is important. That's a valuable lesson. So you know, that's my greatest inspiration.
No, that's amazing, man. I know them two boys is so happy seeing mama work, man. I can't wait to meet them one day, man. I can't wait. But let us know, what's some new ventures you got coming up in 2021, or what's next for you, or not really something else, but like what's some new ventures or some new things you got going on?
You know, currently we started casting again, so you know, I'm definitely casting. For me, it's about finding projects that I'm passionate about, to be a part of and create. But honestly, I'm taking it day by day, to be honest, because as we know, you know, 2020 been interesting. But I'm just taking it day by day, man, and going with it, you know, and just you know. But I do have some independent projects
working
on.
Yeah,
you know.
So through COVID and the craziness and the, like, I always call COVID like a gift and a curse. You know what I'm saying? Because I was gifted so many things, and it's like curse. It's like a both scenario situations. How did you deal with COVID? You know, through that whole time, the setbacks, the positiveness. Like, how did you deal with it?
So my last day of the show was March 20th. And I remember March 22nd, everything shutting down.
Wow.
So, you know, at first, I don't think I was expecting it to be this. I don't think anybody was expecting it. I'm like, okay, good. You know, I just wrapped the show. I could sit down for a little bit. Let me collect some unemployment. And then it, you know, the 1 month turned into 2 months, turned into 3 months. And then, to be fully transparent, to make it worse, I don't know, the unemployment wasn't kicking in right away. So it's like, whoa, what's happening here? So for me, it was a level of being forced to, again, reevaluate and be okay in the madness. Because I feel like we all have choices. And sometimes what feels like desperation will lead people to do really nasty things. And for me, it was important to just stay in my bubble, stay in a place where when it got low, figure out how to be happy in your low, because life is this. Especially when it comes to just, you know, finances or whatever. It's like, you gotta know how to operate in your low without crossing any moral compasses. And for me, that was my guidance. So the simple things of, you know, sitting outside, you know what I'm saying, getting some sun, you know, that kept me grounded. You know, we couldn't really do much. You know, it was a lot of couch potato days, but that's okay. And I stopped beating myself up like I should be doing this or I should be doing this. And you look on Instagram and people still living fully functional lives,
their
and
best
it's like
life.
That's a lie.
You
know what I'm saying? But I had to pause on social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, in all honesty, it was like too much, because all of that stuff can play. It can play with your mind, and then you start holding yourself to other standards and comparing yourself, and I just had to stop. So I mean, for me, times were tough, but when are times not tough? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay. You know, so for me, it was more of, I got to spend a lot of time with the kids. You know,
which they loved, probably.
They loved, and it drove me crazy, but it was okay. It was okay.
So, I'm a young person, right? I just graduated college.
I'm like, that's a whole lie, BB. You talking about you a young person? You graduated college?
I'm about to ask you a question. I'm a young person. I just graduated college, or I just graduated high school, and I want to pursue, like, my non-major of entertainment. I want to get into radio. I want to get into TV casting and production. What's some advice do you give to that young person that wants to get into the business, that is or their parents or everybody tell them, hey, go be a doctor, go be a lawyer? You know what I'm saying? You want to be a DJ? You want to be a casting director? You want to be an executive producer? Man, you better go do something regular and come back to that.
Right.
What advice do you give them?
That's a heavy question, because I am an advocate of following your passion.
Okay.
And if you don't know your passion, that's fine, but you got to try things that will make you be able to identify what that is, right?
Yeah.
I would say my advice is to definitely clock in with your tunnel vision.
Okay.
Like, it's your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It'll be great if you have the support of others, if you have the support of your family, if you have the support of your friends, but if not, tap in to a point where you got tunnel vision and you don't hear any other noise, because all of that is just distractions, and it's going to get you off of your path. And if you're that passionate and that focused and you have that desire and that spark to pursue something, do it, and don't half-ass it.
Yeah.
You got to be all in.
100%.
Like, when I got into radio, I was still working my job. Actually, I had 2 jobs at the time. I had a full-time job during like a customer service job, and then on the weekends I was still working at Coach, and then I was doing like these random one-off shifts and overnights, like 12 to 2 and 6 in the morning. And I just remember getting to a place where I can't continue to do this. I'm giving what I want 25% of my time. I'm giving 40 hours a week to something that is just giving me a paycheck.
Yeah.
Once I did the math and I wrote it down, like, I'm giving only 4 hours to this, but I want 100% return. I'm giving 40 hours to this, and it's just like, whatever. I let it go. And once I made a sacrifice and gave all of my time and effort and energy into that, I was able to reap the reward. So whatever you do the work and do it maxed out. You know what I mean? This idea of making it look like you're doing the work, but actually not doing the work. You know, and I think it's very easy to get lost in the sauce with social media. You can make it seem like you're doing it, but in real time you're not. Like, there's something said to laying the brick by brick by brick.
Yeah,
you know
I agree
what I mean?
with that.
And I feel like that's just a winning formula. That's a formula for me. And you know, don't shy away from that. So if whatever it is that they want to do it at 100%. Put that work in, and it's gonna return. That's just a universal law. You know.
Last question for you. Can you give us a little insight of love? What Love and Hip Hop is this?
Oh, we about to
Season what?
It would be season 4.
Wow.
It would be season 4. When is this airing? Because I don't know if we've officially made the announcement.
It
would be season 4.
Okay. Well, Trina did talk about it in the last interview.
Well,
So Trina already mentioned
season 4.
Okay. So what is? Can you give us any insight what to expect or if we can't know, it's okay. You know.
I would say. There's going to be some changes. Some changes,
okay.
And you know, and changes are good changes. And there has to be changes because of COVID. Because we are restricted, as with the world, on how we, definitely on the production set, how we shoot things. So, you know, we are adjusting with the times. I'm excited because the changes that are being made are going to lead to some amazing compelling stories that will be followed, you know what I mean, in a very authentic and organic way. And it's getting back to the basics. It's getting back to the, the hustle of it all, and the music of it all. And I think that's a good space to be in.
Definitely. So Felisha, how can our fans out there find Felisha Monet on everywhere in your social media networks?
Yeah, just Felisha Monet. I am Felisha Monet, FELISHAMONET.
Man, thank you so much, Miss Felisha, man. I really appreciate it, taking time out of a busy schedule. I did bully her for this interview. I'm not going to lie to you.
I said, I didn't even agree to it. Like, next thing I know, he said, I'm confirming. I'm like, okay, this happened really quick.
You got to put it down. You got to know what you're doing, man. But this is my homie, my longtime friend. Day one, man. You always sounded amazing on the radio. I always respected your grind.
Thank you.
You always, I'm going to tell you, always carried yourself like a lady. Let me tell you that. There was no hanky-panky, no, you know what I'm saying? You meet with Felisha Monet, you better have your business together. It's about business, and I commend you on that. And I want my daughter to meet you because I want her to to understand that, you know, everything, you know, it's not all about that. Things are about business, and it doesn't mean man or woman, you could still do business. And I always appreciated all your friends and all you about that. Shout out to Teacher Moses, the homie.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, integrity, you know, I just feel like, you know, integrity and principles, they go a long way. Integrity and principles.
So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You watching Behind the Beats. I'm here with the wonderful Felisha Monet. Thank you so much.